Hello everybody, this is Graham, Senator Collector 75, and welcome to a new kind of video. This is a look back at some of my retro computer games magazines from the early 90s. Now, I was a big Nintendo fan, not because I just liked a Nintendo, but it's just that I got bought a Nintendo. Actually, no, I think I went out and bought a Nintendo. And I can't remember exactly why I decided on Nintendo rather than Sega. I can't remember why, but I stuck with it. And I went from the NES through the Super Nintendo onto the N64 and so forth. These days, obviously, they have died out pretty much. I mean, you got the Nintendo Switch, but I don't know, I just can't be getting on with them now. It's strange, really. Usually I just stick, because most games now are multi-format anyway, apart from some of the Nintendo stuff. But I just stick on the PS4 or PS3. So anyway, but back in the 90s, these are the magazines I used to get. I used to get this one called Total. I got another one called Game Zone and another one called Super Play, and we'll look at all those in a moment. But I used to get the odd American one like Game Pro and what have you, and I used to pick up them semi-regularly, well, hardly regularly. So I usually used to look at them in the newsagent, but not too much. But these are the ones I actually bought quite regularly. Right, so this is Total. This came out in January 1992 and was the first British all-Nintendo magazine. And it was probably one of my favourites up until, to be honest, I can't remember exactly when. It was probably after the editor, this guy here. You can see they used to use computer-generated images, which were cutting edge back in 92. Yeah, he was the main editor, and I think he left to edit Edge. But after that, I found that the magazine had lost its sort of like appeal to me. So I think I stopped buying it around then. Can't remember what issue. I only seem to have got now the first 7 issues. I thought I had more than that, but maybe I threw some out. I don't know why. But anyway, let's get on with the magazine. So this is the Nintendo Explosion, and this is mainly all about the NES, because by now the Super NES hadn't actually come out in England. We've got to like meet the team. We've got Steve Jarrett and Andy Dyer there, and as with usual with British stuff, we always seem to like putting each other down. So you'd have him who thinks he's really cool, and them who'd call him Thicky Dyer and would be the stupid one. Don't ask me why, but we do that a lot in England with lots of different things, and it's just our way. But we usually find that works quite well. You look at Rollin' Rat. I used to love Rollin' Rat. Anyway, so here we have, look, the Super Nintendo is coming and everything like that, and become a Nintendo expert. We've got other stuff all about the gizmos of the Game Boy, how to set up your Nintendo, all the different sort of sets that you could get. You get the action set, that's the one I had, the action set. I wanted the super set, but it was a bit of my price range. I think it came with a football game, which I really wasn't into football back then. We got the Game Boy and all the stuff that used to come with the Game Boy. We've got reviews of all the games they're reviewing this month. We've got Batman, WWF, WrestleMania. I had that. I really love that game. It got a really bad review in this magazine, but I had loads of fun with that with a couple of friends from school. Super Mario Brothers 3, which is probably one of the best games you'll ever find of Mario. We've got a few other ones. Got Gauntlet 2, Boulder Dash. I couldn't get on with some of the games because obviously back then I was still at school and I couldn't really afford too many games. I had a part-time job, but obviously that only paid a little bit of money, so I had to really beg for games, like maybe from a birthday or whatever. But I did get Super Mario Brothers 3 that Christmas, probably this year that this came out actually, or the Christmas just before it. Because obviously it says January, probably came out in December. So yeah, Super Mario Brothers 3 is reviewed. What a game. I preferred playing the All-Stars version on the Super Nintendo, but looking back at this, I mean, the simple graphics, the gameplay was there. It was such a good game. If you've never played Super Mario Brothers 3, you should really play this one. Then it got a final rating of 98%, which back then, I mean, if it came out now, what would it get? I don't know, because obviously you're comparing it to games these days. Like I was playing Battlefield 1. That, compared to this, I mean, that is completely different for starters. But the work that's gone into that game, and you look at this, which is just a simple platform game, you know, but still the gameplay is here. That's what it's all about, is gameplay. What else we got? Solar Jetman. We've got, oh, look at this. Here we go. WWF WrestleMania Challenge. We've got 37%. What a travesty. I loved it. Now, you've got Andre the Giant here. If you got him out of the ring, it was a bloody nightmare to get him back into the bloody ring. I used to phone up the Nintendo hotline to try and figure out how to get it. My brother managed it as soon as he got the phone to him. Couldn't do it again. You had to push the D-pad like towards a thing like about 2 or 3 times in a row, and he would magically jump in. It worked now and again. Great game, I loved it. Batman, oh, I love Batman. I don't know if I've still got it. I did go through I sold most of my Nintendo games about a year or two ago now, because I bought a Nintendo Wii with 11,000 games on it, Nintendo, all the emulators and everything like that, so I could play them on that. Only the controls were a bit dodgy, so I'm hoping with my Nintendo Classic Mini, the Super NES one, that I bought, the controllers, which are really good, proper Nintendo controllers, not dodgy fake ones that you get on eBay, that they work with the Wii. Because if they work, I'll shit on. I mean, Street Fighter 2 and everything. So there we go. So you got Solstice and everything. It was just a really good magazine. I loved the way they reviewed them. I loved all the little quirks, like they'd have like their own images. Obviously done on PC back at the time. And it was just a really fun magazine. Now, I told a bloke at work about this the other day, and it's got our subscription page here. Was this it? Here we go. Look, subscriptions. Not even a mention of the internet, you know, go online or nothing like that. And it's so refreshing to see. Look, you had to write in to an address or phone up. I mean, and it was probably someone in this country on the phone as well, you know, rather than every time you phone up these days, with it being in another country, which everything seems to do that days, and no one answers the phone still. Yes, so, you know, back to a simpler time when people actually were happier. So there we go. We've got Gauntlet 2 and everything. And then we go on to some Game Boy games. And really good. I did like this magazine. So there we go. So here we go. Cheaper Walk. Complete the form below and return it to us today, please. Yeah, and then we go, what a poop. Anyway, right, so that was the first issue of that. I really love Total magazine. We're going to show another issue quickly of Total. I don't want to dwell on Total for too long, but this is the first Nintendo, Super Nintendo hits the streets. This is, I remember getting this when I left school, back when I was 16. Because I went down the road to buy it at W.H. Smith's, where I pre-ordered it for 150 quid and picked up my Super Nintendo. And I got it home and I was playing Super Mario World. I loved it. Anyway, yeah, so there we go. So, I loved it. Look at that control. That is so dated now, but back then that was cutting edge. Absolutely stonking stuff. I really loved it. I loved all these old adverts for games as well. I really loved them. Super Tennis. I loved Super Tennis. It's one of my favourite games. Let's have a look what else we got. We've got Super Mario Brothers 2 on the NES. What a horrible game. I hated Super Mario Brothers 2. Let's have a look. We've got New Zealand Story. I couldn't get on with that one. We've got the new Ghostbusters. I didn't even know they'd made an old one. Rainbow Islands. Oh, look at this. Rescue the Embassy Mission. Games like that, eh? Look at this. Oh, Gremlins 2. I had this. I played this. I never bought it, but I rented it from a place called Derek Phillips Video Store down the road from me. Completed that. I loved it. It was all right. I remember playing it on a Sunday afternoon. Let's have a look. Here we go. Look at this. Oh, look at this. The Game Boy. Who remembers the Game Boy, eh? That was when that ruled the world on the handheld market. Oh, look at those old games, eh? Proper retro stuff, this. I loved it all. Some of these old magazines, man, take you right back in time. Because I'm like 42 now, and I was 16 when I was reading this. But I still got them all. I still kept them. Well, not all of them, but I kept most of them. Right, so we're going to leave Total there, and we're going to move on to this magazine, which is Super Play. This is probably one of the best magazines. Now, I'm sure I still had the free pin badge, but not exactly sure what I've done with it, to be honest. I'm sure I kept it, so I'm sure I've got it somewhere. But this is all about Super Nintendo. This didn't deal with NES. This was just Super Nintendo, and then eventually it did move over to the N64, but obviously not for a long time yet. So we've got some adverts. T2, Simpsons, Bart's Nightmare. I remember when these were all coming out. Super Smash TV, that was a fantastic game. I used to love Super Smash TV. Super WrestleMania was bad. Crossy Super Funhouse, I like that. I used to have that one. And this also used to do reviews of manga that was coming out and everything like that. It was a good all-round magazine. It sort of based itself on a more Japanesey area of the market. Hence why it had all the Japanese type things. And I think, is it someone on Instagram? I should know the name. It's not Rick Astley. It could be Neil. Yeah. He did say he worked with the guy who done the artwork for this issue. That was great. Anyway, there we go. I always get your name wrong. If you remember back at TFN. Anyway, there we go. But there we go. But so yeah, so it took a more Japanese sort of like look to the magazine, and it was really good. There we go. So we got going about anime. My brother was big into anime, so this magazine was kind of suited him as well. I remember Axley. Oh, I loved all this stuff. And we got the ins and outs of the Super Nintendo. You had the American version there, and this was the British version, which modelled itself after the Japanese version. Would I prefer that version? I don't know. I mean, that was kind of blocky and it was a bit weird purpley. I think I did prefer that just because it wasn't as purple. But then again, I wouldn't have had a problem as long as it played well. Let's have a look. We got all the adapters which we needed in this country, because trying to get the bloody games to come out in this country didn't work all the time. I remember this. I remember looking in this magazine the other day when it was going on about the borders and everything that you used to have back on the TVs then. But if you used an American version using the SCART, it would have full screen because of the PAL system for some reason. Even though it was superior to NTSC, as far as I know, it would end up with these borders. Don't have the problems these days, not with HDMI and everything like that. But I remember that being a big thing at the time. I remember I had an old TV that my mum and dad used to have downstairs, where you had the vertical control on the TV. So you plug it in and then you twist this little nozzle at the back and it would stretch the screen, and so you could have full screen. I remember that, but it only worked on the one downstairs for a bit. That telly soon went up the creek. But anyway, here we go. Super Mario Kart. Oh, I loved Super Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart was the best. Bart's Nightmare. I never played that one. I played the original one on the NES. Golden Fighter. God. Look at that. We've got an advert for Total magazine here. There we go. See, that you added more people in Total. That's when it started to get a bit weird for me. There we go. So we've got Hook and everything like that. What else? We've got Super Bowling. I mean, I don't really get any magazines these days. Not really for any of the computer systems, because I'm not really into it like I was back in the 90s. Oh, Street Fighter 2. Oh my God, Player's Guide. I was the king of Street Fighter back in the day around in my neighbourhood. With Street Fighter 2 Turbo anyway, I was king of that. And I was the master of Mortal Kombat. I used to love Mortal Kombat 2. I did sort of like go for a phase. I memorised nearly every move out of Mortal Kombat 2, every fatality. There was only like about 3 or 4 that I'd have trouble with, you know, like some of the friendships and babalities and whatever. But because I used to play it that much and wanted to beat, because I was very competitive with all my friends, and we were all very competitive. Apart from one of my friends we used to call the Jam Car, who wasn't very good. There we go. So we've got a nice little... Sorry about this, guys. I've still got bronchitis, which isn't good. We've got Street Fighter 2. Look at this. 94%. Preferred Street Fighter 2 Turbo. We've got Super Smash TV. Oh, these pages are stuck together. That's not good. It's because where I stored them in my old loft. I must assume that's why they stuck together anyway. Oh, dear. Anyway, right, so we've got Super Stocker UN Squadron. Never played it. Got 91%, but I never bought it. I should have. It was for a funny time in my life. Once I left school, I got a job. Didn't really like the job. I hated the job, to be honest, and it paid really crap money. And then I got the sack from there, which is the only time I've ever got the sack. So far, anyway. Which I was kind of glad I did get the sack. And then after that, I was on dole for a bit. As you do when you're young, you're thinking, oh no, I can survive on a bit of dole money. And then you realise it's a horrible life on a dole. And I've done that for about a year, got a job in the end. And then realised I'd never wanted to go back on a dole. I hated it. Why people do that, I really do not know, because you have no money. And you're just bored all day. Don't get it. And yeah, since then, so when I was 18, I've had a job for the last 24 years non-stop, which is good. And I always intend to have a job. I'd never live like that. So there we go. Not if you can help it anyway. Obviously, some people can't do much about it, but especially these days. But when it's your choice, you know what I mean? Don't get it. Anyway, right, so you got Mode 7, which was the little cheats and tips and everything. There we go. Super Tennis. And then we got, coming up next, with Street Fighter 2. Oh, I loved it. This is an advert for Total magazine. Brilliant. Let's have a look at this. See, Super Play here has got a different cover. That's a bit weird, isn't it? That's weird, isn't it? Where is that, my issue of Super Play? This is his Super Play. Hold on. So right, is a... That's weird, isn't it? Maybe that's issue 2 coming up. I don't know. Can't remember. Anyway, right. So that was Super Play. Then we're going to come to a multi-format magazine. This is the only one I used to get of a multi-format. I remember I used to have a part-time job in Tesco's in Egham. And so I remember before I started at 5 o'clock, I used to get there about 4:30. I had a look in the local news agents where I used to buy stuff from. And I'd look at all computer magazines. I remember buying this one before work and then putting it in my coat pocket. I'm going to wait until I finish work at 8 before I can even look at it when I got home. Oh, so this is a bit of an odd magazine. It was very odd. It was okay. It had some good stuff in it. This is why I bought it. Like reviews and upcoming stuff. Who remembers this? Who remembers the Power Glove? What did I just see an advert for that? I saw it here somewhere, didn't I? There it is. Look at that, the Power Glove. I remember that on that film. Was it The Wizard? I can't remember. He used the Power Glove in that. I always remember that. I always wanted it. Glad I never got it. It was fucking rubbish. But yeah, it was a kind of like this issue. It was a bit like Viz meets a computer games magazine, because it'd have some really weird stuff in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, most of it, like 90% of it, was all just good, proper console stuff and everything. But I think in issue 2 we got some really weird stickers, and I've got some somewhere of a picture of Giles Brandreth, which obviously a lot of American people won't know who he is, and maybe some younger people these days won't know who Giles Brandreth is. But it had a picture of him on a sticker with just the words merchant banker under it, and at the time I thought, wow, that sums him up. So, yeah, what did I put with that one? I don't know where I got that one. I think it's on a folder, which I've still got, which I refuse to chuck away because it's got that sticker on it that I put on it. But yeah, so it was a funny old magazine. Like I say, it used to do Mega Drive games. The first 12 issues were multi-format. Then it split into a Nintendo and then Sega separate magazines. And I got the Nintendo version, obviously. But yeah, it was all right, and it had some strange bits in it. It got sold out. I think there was a great one. I don't know what I've done with it now. But this used to have a. Is it this one? Oh, let me have a look. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I won't point it out because it's got people's addresses in it. It had like pen pals and stuff. Sure, is this one? There we go. Look, see, here's the letters and everything. But it had like letters and stuff. You could send your letters in, and I think one was, some bloke is lonely. So anybody who fancies contacting him, please contact him. He put his name as Dr. Slaughter. And I thought, yeah, he's really gonna get some replies out of that one. Anyway, right, but then they did do this. Probably the best feature I remember is, I know this video's gone on for nearly over 18 minutes now. So if you're still here, good on you. But they used to do this. Now, I'll never forget Colin Koch. Colin Koch has a special place in my heart because it was just great. What Colin Koch was, it was a feature on the letters page, and you could win a game if you could get him to back down. Now, to get him to back down, you just had to write in and threaten the guy. You could threaten him with anything, any form of violence, Nothing was too taboo for this magazine, and I found that very odd. I found it very odd indeed. And then I think there was another competition a bit later on. This is obviously when it's part of the way. It used to be just like a small segment, like about that one, but then it got into its whole page. And I think one of them, there was a competition where if you'd got into a fight recently, you could send a picture in, and then maybe win a game that way. But some of it, I mean, if you can read this, here it is, I'll try and get it so it just stops on it. There you go. So if you can read that, pause that. This is a little blurb first when it goes, look, yeah, one night I went into the local boozer, right, and it went quiet. I love it. And then it ends up with glassing someone. I just really thought it was really funny. Just how they got away with it. But I don't think they got away with it too long, because I found one of the other ones. I was trying to get a few different bits out, and then I found this. Now, this is some guy where they did send in a picture of him after. He wasn't actually in a fight. He was playing rugby, apparently. But it says here, Dear Sam and all Koch fans, due to unforeseen technical problems, namely Scotland Yard's famous flying squad, Mr. Koch is unable to reply to a letter in person. He goes, but we'll try and get him back as soon as we can. But if you want him back, you could do us a favour by writing to Colin Koch, his Koch in Innocent campaign. I loved it. I loved it. Maybe maybe it's just my strange sense of humour, I don't know, but I really found it funny. Anyway, right, so that has been, look at that, Ryan Giggs, Giggsy. Look at Lukes there, Jesus Christ. He was a good footballer. Yeah, right, so this has been Graham, the Collector 75. I hope you like this video. Hopefully, though, you're going to be seeing some Transformers, G1 comics, and even the Zoids comics reviews now. Now I've figured out I've got an okay setup. It seems to work. It's a bit of a glare there, but I'll see what I can do about that. Anyway, right, this has been Graham, the Collector 75. Don't forget you can support my channel using the links below, and of course, if you're still here, and of course you can follow me on Instagram. Right, bye for now.